Hi everyone, I've made 2 extra lectures here for this section of the course because I want to go into some more detail about branding. Now we've spoken about private labeling there earlier on, but I know that some of you will be interested in going more depth into what branding means and how you can actually do it. So we are going to cover this in order of simplicity because there are different ways and different levels of branding. So first of all, the simplest way of actually putting a real brand on something, so really branding something, is just to have your own custom designed packaging with a logo on the packaging. So you've got a design and a logo on the packaging. That's the simplest way to really brand a product. Now the second way, which is going one step further, is to have your own custom design packaging with logo on the packaging and a logo printed or embossed on the actual product itself. So that's one step further. Now the next level up is where you have your product fully branded and also trademarked as well. So you've got your own custom design packaging with the logo on the packaging, you've got the logo printed or embossed on the product, and you have trademarked the brand name of that product and possibly even trademarked your logo as well. So let's look at these 3 different ways in more detail and just talk about how you do them, what they mean as well. So first of all, your own custom design packaging with a logo on the packaging. So that's the simplest way to put your own real brand on a product. So how would you do this? First of all, you'd get the package template from the supplier on Alibaba. Now the suppliers always have a template for the packaging. Sometimes they have different templates because sometimes there's a choice of packaging, for example boxes or blister packs. So they would have a template for each type of packaging and they will send you that template. It's very likely in a file that you can't open, but it doesn't matter because you would send that file, that template file, to somebody over on Fiverr probably, because this is the cheapest way to get a really good package design created. Before you do that though, you need to decide which style and colors that you want for your design. You find a Fiverr seller with good reviews. Now there is a lecture on using Fiverr later on in the course as well. Go into more detail in that lecture about using Fiverr and finding good designers on there. Now optionally, you can also have your UPC code incorporated in the design, and in which case you send that over to the Fiverr designer as well and get him or her to incorporate the UPC code in the design. Once you've got the design back from the Fiverr designer, you would send that design to the supplier. Now here is the disadvantage or the downside to this. The supplier on Alibaba will almost certainly require a larger order from you because they need to create a template, a print template for your design, so especially for you. And they also have to have your items packed separately, so they need to create a special job to have your items packed. So there is another way to do this. Because you want to try and start out with a small quantity if you possibly can, this is really the best way to go. So rather than purchase a larger quantity than you want to, you could get custom printed boxes and then box the products yourself. So box the items yourself. Now this way you can do the same thing. You can get the same result, same end result, but the MOQ can be as low as you want, and you can even order from somewhere like AliExpress if you prefer, because you will have no minimum order quantity if you're going to do it yourself. Now for Europe, I use packhelp.com for ordering my custom boxes. There's another website for the US which I have looked at but I have not actually used, but it does look to be very similar to packhelp.com for Europe. Now, the way these sites work, the way these websites work, is that you choose which kind of box you want. Now, it would normally be a product box that you'd be looking for, and you can create your own designs, so you can add different colors to the sides of the boxes. You can have different colors on different sides, and then you can upload a design, and you can then order X amount of boxes. Now, on this site here, this is the European site, packhelp.com. They have a minimum order of 30. Now, it says 25 cents a piece here, but in fact, on an order, a small order of 30 boxes, it is actually more than that. But nevertheless, this is an option. You could still have a logo created or some kind of design created over on Fiverr and then upload that here and basically just order as many custom boxes as you want. You can get all different sizes, by the way, so pretty much any size that you want, going from very small, going up in size increments. Now, the smaller the box, the cheaper they are as well. Okay, so that's an alternative way to have your own custom packaging, but to keep your order quantity small. Now, the next level up is having your custom packaging and having a logo printed or embossed on the product. Now, how do you do that? Well, it's all the same as we looked at in the previous step. So you've got the same process here. You're getting the package template, you're deciding on the style and colors, you're finding a Fiverr seller with good reviews, you're getting your design and your logo created, and you're sending that design to the supplier, but this time you're also sending the logo over as well as a separate file. Now, the supplier will print the logo on the products for you, but this always requires a higher MOQ, a higher minimum order quantity, because the factory needs to create a special print template and a special print job just for your product. So a special production run just for your product. So normally the MOQ is a minimum of 500 units. A lot of suppliers have a minimum of 1,000 units. But there is another way. You can have logo stickers made and stick them on the items. Now, clearly this is not as good, it's not as professional looking as having your logo actually printed or embossed on the product, but it is a good second best. And these are very, very cheap to get. Just, go to Google and type logo stickers in, and you're going to find a ton of websites. Sometimes they are like DIY, do it yourself, so you can upload your own logo there and just choose how many you want and just order them, and you basically get them through the mail very quickly. Okay, so on to the last option. So this is kind of stepping things up to the point where you actually get a trademark as well. So you're trademarking your brand name, maybe even trademarking your logo too. So how is this done? Well, first of all, before we talk about how it's done, trademarking is expensive, and European trademarking costs more than US trademarking, about twice as much. So expect to pay about twice as much for a European trademark. You shouldn't do this without a trademark attorney, because there are so many different classes of products that if you get it wrong, then you're just going to mess the whole thing up. You definitely need a trademark attorney, so a legal expert, to do this for you. And of course, that's going to bump the costs up a bit. So the cost is approximately $700. This is total all in, by the way, everything, for one trademark name in the US, for the US. And for Europe, for European trademark, it's around double that, so around €1,200, which is about $1,400 US. Now, if you want to trademark a logo as well, that's going to cost more. So that's going to add around about another $500 or €500 onto the price. So how you do it is you just head over to a trademark attorney's website. There are a lot of them. Now, these three here, LegalZoom.com is very popular with Amazon sellers. There's also onlinetrademarkattorneys.com, and for Europe, trademark.eu. So basically that is how you trademark your brand name and possibly your logo as well, is to head over to one of these services or another one, but to a trademark attorney's website and take it from there. So when is the right time to consider trademarking your brand and maybe even your logo? Well, it shouldn't be before you've even started, because how do you know for sure that the product that you want to brand is going to be the type of product that you're going to end up selling on a long-term basis? You don't really know that. This course gives you the information, it gives you knowledge, but you don't really learn how to do things until you start doing them yourself. So that's how you really learn. You get the knowledge and the information from this course. Helps you a lot on your journey, but at the same time, once you start doing it, that's when you really start to learn and get experience. So that's when you're going to be able to make better decisions. So even though when you trademark a name, a brand name, you can apply that brand name to other products, but they still need to be products in that same category, in that same class. And there are so many different classes. If you wanted to sell in a different category, a different type of product, you would need to go through the process again. And we've already looked at the fact that it's expensive. So the best time to trademark is when you know for certain you're selling the right type of product and when you have experience. Because once again, without experience, you can't know for sure if you are doing the right thing. If this is what you want to do for the future, is this the road you want to go down? So let's say, for example, you've started in the baby category and after a couple of months selling, you realize this is not where you want to be. You want to be in a higher volume category. You want to be in a more competitive category or whatever. And also, of course, when you can afford it. So normally that is not until you've established your brand a little bit. And I have never even considered trademarking any kind of brand name or logo until I have already established that brand and it's doing well. Now, of course, a trademark does protect you. It protects you from others using your brand name and others using your logo if you trademark your logo as well. It does. But we have to weigh things up. If you were to trademark every new brand name that you decided to use or every new logo you decided to come up with, I mean, if I did that, I would have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on trademarks. It's ridiculous. So you really have to weigh things up and look at it from the point of view that this product you start out with is probably not going to be the product that you're going to be selling in 6 months' time. It might be, but it's probably not going to be, and it's probably or perhaps not even going to be the same category. All right, now in a continuation to this lecture, in the next lecture, we're going to talk about patents and patent pending, because this has been causing a little bit of confusion with students. I've had quite a few questions about it over the last few months, so I'm going to clear that up in the next lecture. All right, see you in a minute.